In this video that I don't normally share on the interwebs, I made a video a few months ago kind of in this vein, and then got a lot of good feedback on it. A lot of people got a lot of value from it. And so if you follow my work, my brother's work, what we do at Satori Prime, you know that we fundamentally talk about well-being, how to resolve and transform things in your life. So a lot of it is in the mindset space, but even more importantly and crucial to me is what's happening at this level of spirit and energetics and things like that. And again, all this is done to help people learn the type of wisdom that has been passed on to us to help people transform and resolve things in their life to increase well-being, relationships, and what have you. However, look, I mean, life is way more complex than most people make it out to be. A lot of us draw conclusions in a black and white way, but for me, I don't see a separation anymore between our mental state, our energetic state, our emotional state, our spiritual state. All these things work in conjunction with one another. And oftentimes when we go see a specialist, they are really focused on mindset or really focused on some specialization in the physical. And what you find, maybe this has been your experience, is that you can resolve something at the level of physicality, like knee pain, back pain, whatever, but it will come back. You can resolve, gut stuff, maybe of IBS, stuff like that. You resolve with the doctor, but it comes back. And so my contention is that the reason it's coming back is because usually we don't have, we have specialists, we don't have holistics. And when we look at holistics, we look at the entire picture. And so I like to think of myself kind of as a Joe Rogan type, which is I specialize in a few areas of my life. However, I'm very well versed in, I know a little bit about a lot of areas. And so I have a very dynamic way of thinking about things. And one thing that I'm certainly interested, as I'm sure many of you guys are, is your health. And so this video is, I wanted to give you guys some information about things that have dramatically improved or helped to baseline my health. And these are not things that most people even know are available to them. Most of us think in terms of medicine in a chemical way. We don't think of it, again, in a holistic way. And there's so many things you can be doing to help yourself. Certainly, if you haven't read Tony Robbins' new book, he's got a lot of great information in there, and there's some things that can help you. But what I'm about to share with you is not in that book. I am privileged to be around a lot of incredibly smart individuals who turn me on to certain things. And there are two things that I do for my health that I'm going to share in this video, and then like kind of a third one loose if you want to stick around afterwards, that are have made a profound difference in the quality and health of my life, and that I believe everyone should be doing. So I'm going to share them here. Mind you, I'm not an MD, I'm not a doctor, so go do your own research. These are also kind of a bit cutting edge in my opinion, and for some people are going to be like a little edgy just to hear about, but I have been sharing them with my closest friends. I've seen the profound difference it's made. I've heard nothing but really positive experiences with this, and so I want to share again two very, very groundbreaking things that I'm doing in my life right now every single day, and then again I'll leave to you to make the decisions. So the first thing we really, really need to discuss is the impact of herbicides and on our environment, because again, I have had, as I'm sure you have had, family friends that appear on the surface completely healthy, and then suddenly are very sick or terminally ill, and everyone's sitting back going, "Oh, I don't understand how they got so sick." But what we often don't take into consideration beyond just the lifestyle that we see people having, maybe you see them eating salads on a regular basis or whatever it might be, is the environment that we put ourselves into. And so in our environment today is a great deal of radiation. I'll tell you for a fact, anything that's plugged in, a laptop, a cell phone, things of this nature, I have a test at home, like a little thing that scans radiation. You shouldn't be holding any electronics that are plugged into a wall. And the closer your proximity to any electronics that are plugged into any wall, there is a great deal of radiation coming out of that. So if you have your laptop regularly plugged in, especially if it's on your lap or anything like that, there's a great deal of radiation. I mean, significantly more than you're supposed to be feeling towards your body, and a lot of people don't realize that. So it's certainly all electronics have some form of radiation. By the way, these are not the two things I'm going to talk to you about. I think it's just worth mentioning in the more holistic way. So it's one thing to hold the cell phone in your hand. It's already giving off a lot of radiation. It's another thing to have it plugged in while you're holding it in your hand. It like 10x's it significantly above the amounts that we're supposed to be experiencing. So if you don't know that, small health tip. And I say that because a lot of times people are eating salads, but they're not organic in nature. I had spoken to a doctor many years ago who had a client that in 30s was showing signs of dementia and Alzheimer's as someone double their age. And so a lot of times we think of these things as a disease and not of an accumulation of things that are happening in a person's life. And so, for example, in this specific case, after they had cleaned up everything, the person was still deteriorating quite quickly. And it had come to realize that this individual was going to Whole Foods every morning and getting himself 16 or 32 ounces of a green drink from Whole Foods. Now, you think to yourself, what's wrong with that? But this kind of leads itself into my next part of this conversation, which is this green drink was not organic. And people confuse natural for organic or non-GMO for organic, and they're not, because organic, you can't use pesticides and herbicides on it. And so basically, when you start drinking pesticides, when you start eating herbicides, and they're water soluble, which makes them even worse, there is a profound effect on the body. And for those of you guys who follow or should be following a very smart individual by the name of Dr. Zach Bush, he goes into great detail, but suffice it to say, we have a great deal of evidence to show that glyphosate, which is a prominent chemical that is in herbicides, is detrimental to the body, is an understatement. And essentially what glyphosate does is it tears at the lining in your gut. And if you have gut issues in general, today we know that the gut is one of the foundational things for having a healthy life. For every 10 signals your gut sends up to your brain sends one signal down. So you want to start thinking about what's actually making the decisions in your body. So, guts, like, gut instinct, things like this are in our language. But here's what ends up happening is you cut away at this gut lining. You have now the filtration system that's supposed to protect you from this gut brain-blood barrier is no longer present, which means anything that's now negative, chemicals, medicines will get through this barrier much, much easier and actually can cause a lot of damage. And this is why I mentioned we see healthy people, but they're maybe doing things that they don't know are unhealthy and are actually deteriorating their health. Once that happens, the glyphosate actually goes to work on breaking down the cellular network connection of your body. So if you can imagine, like, you have a cell phone network inside your body, and every cell is a receptor site, meaning like a cell phone that's supposed to be receiving a signal. The glyphosate is breaking down that communication network in your body. And so the cells lose their ability to communicate with the greater whole and essentially ask for support. And so sometimes a cell needs more resources, it's struggling, it's even dying, and needs some nutrition support. The cell would not be able to do that. Now, as a means of replicating its own DNA, what the cell starts doing is replicating itself very quickly. This is also known as cancer, by the way. And this is because the cell can't communicate to the body that it's not getting what it needs. Again, it's dying. It's trying to save its own DNA. Starts replicating very, very quickly, and you get malignant tumors and things of this nature. Am I saying that's the only reason why? Absolutely not. There are lots of other things. Nothing is ever so cut and dry as one thing. But glyphosate, without a doubt, is increasing on our planet. It's in our rain. It's in our water. It's in our drinking water. Everywhere you are, you're essentially taking glyphosate throughout the day, and it has absolute detrimental effects on our health. And so you want to do whatever you can to cut glyphosate, period, and then try to detox this out of your body. And so Dr. Zach Bush, one of the ways that he does that is by offering this incredible product, which changed its name over the years. Now it's called Ion Gut Support. And I've been taking this for about 5 years. If anybody was to ask me, what's the one or two supplements that you would tell anybody to take or, are prominent, this would be definitely number one or number two on my list. And what this is, essentially, is I believe it's like 10 million or 100 million year old water that they dig for deep underground and finding natural aquifers. And there's a reason for that, because this is untouched original biome from our planet. So there's no glyphosate in here. This is glyphosate free. And what this can do is it can actually help clear the residue of glyphosate out of your body, and it also feeds the microbiota, so in your gut. And so obviously a lot of us have heard about the microbiota. We even take probiotics or things, prebiotics, probiotics. But what you want to realize is when you take a certain probiotic, it is actually not healthy to keep taking the same probiotic over and over again. You have roughly 30 to 40,000 different bacterial cells in the gut, and these all work together to break down food, and bacteria plays a major role on our planet. And again, with how we look at viruses and bacteria is really kind of cockamamie, because they're actually supportive in many ways to our overall health and want to work with us and have done so for billions and billions of years. And there's no way we're going to clear and clean every virus and bacteria, and nor would that really support our health. We actually want to build a very healthy relationship with bacteria. And so if you're eating just one probiotic, you're actually growing a specific vertical of bacteria within your gut. But this can actually, as you grow that vertical, can actually throw the bacterial balance in your gut out of whack. So you're growing one vertical too much, not enough of the other ones, and nothing in balance, nothing in nature that's disbalanced is good for us. So what this does is it's basically food for the microbiota in your stomach, for all of it. And so you can grow all of it in a healthy way. So again, you're clearing out the glyphosate, rebuilding that communication network, healing the gut lining in your body, and feeding the microbiota, all with original, untouched biomass, basically from our planet. So this is about as healthy as it can get. You can put this up your nose. You can clean your skin with this. So I have nasal sprays and tinctures that I put this inside of, and I actually put this on my face. And again, this is all to protect from the very large chemical usage around you. And if you're thinking, oh, well, I do buy organic stuff, great. However, also realize if you live in beautiful places like Florida, like my parents do, or you just go outside, anything that's been manicured where you don't see weeds, there's a reason you don't see weeds, and that's because they are spraying glyphosate, weed killer, Roundup. That's what it is. It's basically Roundup is essentially leftover napalm from the Vietnam War that they reduced down, and Roundup is 25% the power of what napalm is. And napalm was used in Vietnam to kill the jungle, essentially, so that the military could see the Viet Cong underneath. And so it's massively destructive to our environment, and even more so to ourselves. So if you're basically drinking napalm every fucking day, it's probably not great for you. So when you go out in the world, again, glyphosate is in our rain, it's in our water, it's in our grass. Everywhere you go where you don't see weeds, it's manicured. Chances are that's being sprayed. You're breathing that in. It's impossible to get away from it at this point in time, and it's increased like 2000x over the last 10 years or so. So at home, you want to be able to, well, the one thing you can control is what's inside your home environment. And if you're using Clorox or really harsh chemicals inside your home, you're not giving yourself a break from breathing in chemicals, from them getting on your skin. And chemicals, our body is extremely resilient and can detox from these things, but it needs a break. And so a lot of people don't take this seriously, and for us it's like, hey, look, what you can control is what you're doing at home. So at the very least, get natural cleaning agents at home, use vinegar. There's plenty of things that can clean your house without harsh chemicals. You don't need to be so concerned about viruses and bacteria in the way that you think, because again, if you have a healthy immune system, if you're actually taking in viruses and bacteria, your body is actually going to get stronger. These things can actually fortify the body. And so I'll put the link for these below. These are my affiliate links, but feel free to buy this. Again, I just have this on an auto ship. Every month I split this with my wife. It takes this is 2 months worth, but we split it between 2 people, so it lasts about a month. One of the best health hacks you can ever find, okay? The second one's a little bit more edgy, so I need you to keep an open mind, but this may be one of the most important things you ever heard, so I want you to listen up. Again, this didn't come directly from me, but came from people much smarter than I. It made sense when I started doing research. I started using it, and I started feeling the immediate profound positive effects of this. So I'll say it this way. I'm sure all of you guys have heard of melatonin before. Melatonin is the chemical in our brain that helps induce sleep. And if you've ever taken melatonin before, you could probably take between 1 to 3 milligrams, let's say, and you're going to feel the effects of it. It's kind of going to feel this restful sleep and maybe go a little bit deeper into sleep. However, the contention that I have found, certainly the belief I had, is that melatonin is a habit-forming and that if you keep taking it, your body's natural ability to create melatonin decreases. Turns out that that's not true. There is actually no unhealthy dosages of melatonin. It's not habit forming at all. What I did not know about melatonin, though, is that it is it's a master controller of our hormones. So if you're having thyroid issues as you get older, testosterone things, this is something that can actually help balance your hormones. Balancing your hormones can help balance your mental state, your emotional state. So if you're feeling out of whack, this could be really, really helpful. It repairs not the thyroid, although it certainly helps with that as well. I think it's the thalamus. And again, very, very profound. It brings more elasticity to the skin, so it has an incredible effect on your skin's health. So I'm not taking I'm not taking this by pills, and this is where it kind of gets a little bit more edgy for some of you guys, is I'm actually high dosing melatonin, somewhere between 200 to 400 milligrams per night, which I know seems crazy when you heard, what a normal pill is. And even wilder is I'm not taking this stuff orally. I'm actually taking it through suppositories. Okay. So I'm going to, again, put links for this down below. They are my affiliate links. There's a company called Advanced Biome Corp. This is the product I take. It's called Super Sandman. It also has 20 milligrams of CBD inside. And if you still don't know what suppository is, that means that this goes up your bum. And they're kind of these like bullet-looking things. It seems like a weird idea at first until you do it, and this goes up there really, really easily. It's not like a hard thing to do. Slips right up there, for lack of a better word. Sometimes I take a half, sometimes I take a whole, depending on kind of where my body's at. And if you're wondering, like, holy crap, 400 milligrams, what does that feel like? To be honest, not that big. It's not a huge experience. It's not like you take 3 milligrams, you take 400, 400, like you're asleep for 20 hours and you can't get out of bed. It's nothing like that. It might feel a little bit sleepier, and again, everybody's different, than you might feel with taking a full dose of oral melatonin. But the benefits that I just spoke about the, this master antioxidant, master hormonal control, obviously, sleep help, all those kind of things. These there's a vast swath of studies that have been done on this, very well documented at this point, that high dosing melatonin is probably one of the healthiest things, game-changing type of things that you can be doing for your health right now. Obviously, you're going to sleep a lot better, but all the other benefits I just mentioned. I'm generally a very healthy person. I'm very conscious of what I put in my body, so I don't feel this massive change in terms of everything in my life. But if you're not on the healthy side, if you are not sleeping well, if your skin elastin, your hormones are out of whack, this could be life-changing for you, without a doubt. Okay? And because I started becoming comfortable with suppositories, I've been doing this for about 7 months now, it just kind of opened up the world of suppositories to me in general. I also take things like NAD. For any of you guys who don't know this is, again, super antioxidant, slows aging, repairs genes, quenches neuroinflammation. I'm reading right off the front over here. But NAD, NAC, these are phenomenal precursors for increasing L-glutathione in your body, which is, again, a master antioxidant. You can get that by getting IVs and stuff like that. But this also has NMN in it, which is anti-aging. I mean, these are really, really potent stuff. They're not super cheap, but they're honestly not that expensive. And I'll show you one more, and then I kind of want to give you my rationale behind this. So first you probably have to get over the fact that you're sticking something up your butt, but believe me, it doesn't feel that bad. This is another company I use, ZetPill, and you can see multivitamin, multi-mineral. And so why this? Because for years, I would go get IVs, okay? Small bag IV about every 2 weeks. An IV here in California is about $100 to $150, especially with an L-glutathione shot, which I think is a mandatory. And a bag of this, this is about $90. I think the melatonin with the CBD is about 120. So, for example, for this, $90, okay? This has 30 dosages. So you have to consider when you're putting something in that area of your body, it's not being filtered through your stomach. So you're getting all the benefits. This goes right into the bloodstream, so it's on par with taking an IV. And an IV is, again, like I said, 100, 150 bucks, depending on where you live, let's say, and that's for a small bag, not a big bag. Here, this is 90 bucks, 30 dosages. So that means what you're getting from one IV here, you can get for $3. Okay? $3. So really, 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 really important stuff here. If you're willing to go down this path, again, I will drop my links down below. They have a bunch of different formulations. You know, if you need more iron, if you need all sorts of different things, you guys can take a look. But these two companies are highly reputable, are putting together some really good products out there, and there's just not a lot of companies out there doing this yet. This is something that people need to kind of like change their paradigm around. But the melatonin, to me, if you're going to do anything right now to boost your health, is melatonin. This gut support, you know, I think between the two, you'll probably be out like, you know, 100 and 150 bucks a month. And my perspective is always, you're going to pay for things now, or you're going to pay for things later. If you're not helping your body right now to detox, to anti-oxidization and all these kind of things, it is going to catch up with you later, and your medical bills are going to be significantly more than buying a few $100 worth of really, really good supplementation every month and taking care of that. And then the last thing I'll say, so that's that. You know, if that's all you need to watch from this video, you got these two products. I highly recommend that you go get them, or at the very least do research and then decide whether you want to get them. If you are going to get them and you feel like you want to support me sharing this with you as a referral source, then please buy them through my links. The last thing I want to share with you guys is just, I'm sure many of you guys have heard of intermittent fasting. That's what Elon and I do. I mean, Elon is, plays a lot of tennis, works out. I probably work out, 4 or 5 times a week. And I've been doing that for a really long time. I've been working out since I was 14 years old. But the single easiest hack that I have learned for keeping your health in order is intermittent fasting. Okay? I'm at a place in my life between my spiritual practices and whatnot. Things have just changed. I used to need a lot of food. Now I just realize I need very little. I actually feel better without a lot of food in my body. Again, I think this depends on how the energetics in your body works. Some people, if you have hyperglycemia, for example, you just need to eat more. Fasting might be really, really challenging, maybe even dangerous for you. So you got to take these things in stride. But for me, I'm on a 1 meal a day diet, and most people that I know that are really, really healthy these days are very minimal in their food intake, usually 1 or 2 meals a day. Generally speaking, I don't eat food until about at least noon my time, depending on when dinner is. If it's earlier, I might eat earlier, but roughly 16 hours without food. And when I break fast, it's usually with a smoothie, a shake of some kind. And I'll talk to you guys about what I do there, and then usually we'll have that. Sometimes if I get hungry, I just listen to my body. I'm not so rigid about these things. It's not a perfect way to do things. I might go have some nuts, light snack, or maybe like some canned fish, sardines, what have you. And I feel like that just works really well for me. Dinner, I can pretty much have whatever I want. Again, I try to keep it rational. I'm not like downing sugar all day long, right? Like, you're decreasing sugar is probably one of the top things you can do to help your health. And today, sugar is snuck into every freaking thing that we eat. So you really need to be mindful when you're looking at the back of a package. Why are they adding sugar to this thing? Do I need to add sugar to this thing at all to make it taste good? And 9 times out of 10, you don't need it. And if you decrease your sugar intake, you're going to realize in general, like, you build a sweet tooth. You tolerate sweetness, a lot better or a lot worse. Like, I don't eat a lot of sugar to taste sweet things today, because I don't eat a lot of sugar. If I have sugar in something, it tastes very, very sweet. So if you're like, well, what protein shake should I have? There is a company called Kavacha out there, and they just have a very complete protein powder. It's non-whey. It's not whey protein, because whey protein can upset people's stomachs since it's coming from dairy. It has a ton of different non-medicinal mushrooms in it, lion's mane and turkey tail, which are things I take regularly as well for my health. I think taking non-psychedelic mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms for your health. Go look at Paul Stamets' works. Is probably one of the top things any of us can be doing to rectify your health. I know even when I get a little bit sick today, some turkey tail, oregano, garlic, all these like natural things, and some colloidal silver, and it can pretty much knock out anything. I rarely get sick anymore, because if it's coming, it just kind of power dose those things and they just go away. Again, L-glutathione, melatonin, if you're doing these things, your body is going to be much, much, much better equipped to handle these things. And of course, I have all these other little tinctures and hacks I could tell you about, but I really want to give you the fundamentals of what works really well. So Kavacha has all the green powders, all the red powders, all the mushrooms, great stuff all mixed together. It's, $60, $70 for a 30-day thing. But if you're going to do intermittent fasting, again, do the math on that. Your cost per meal is roughly $2, $3, maybe a little bit over $3 per meal. Okay, so it's like, even though the meal replacement, right, is expensive, if you're going to intermittent fast and you're not going to get all sorts of other food, you could save yourself a ton of money on food and really just pay for your dinners. And it's an incredible way to just help yourself, help your body maintain a proper weight, have good energy throughout the day. I don't really have energy dips throughout the day. I don't really, I drink coffee, which is another thing we can talk about. What makes a healthy coffee? If you have questions about that, let me know. There is a really great company out there called Life Boost, which has no herbicides, shade-grown coffee. And if you don't know why these things are important, they really are, because coffee is one of the most highly pesticided food in the world. And considering how much we drink of it, again, glyphosate is water soluble. And if you're drinking that, you are wrecking your system every single day while chasing a high. And the crash that you're experiencing is you shouldn't be experiencing, because good coffee actually doesn't do that for you. Good coffee is not acidic. It's very easy and palatable to drink even when it's black. And again, if you're drinking coffee and you have to add a lot of sugar, add a lot of milk, chances are you're drinking very, very bad quality coffee, especially if you're drinking Starbucks coffee. It's one of the worst made coffees in the world. So you really want to focus on these things, and you could save yourself a ton of money by buying good coffee for a little bit more, and just making it at home and getting a better cup of coffee than you would get 99% of times out of cafe. So if you're interested in that, just let me know down below. But this video is really about letting you guys know about the Ion Gut Health, about the Sandman or Super Sandman from Mitozen is the company. By the way, I think I said it's Advanced Biome Group, but it's actually the website's called Mitozen. And these two things, if you just focus on these two things, you're going to see huge changes. You put the intermittent fasting with that, as well as some good healthy coffee, and you're going to see some major benefits in your life. All right, my friends, let me know if you have any questions. Links are somewhere here. Check them out, and hopefully this was helpful for you. I know these were very, very eye-opening things for me. I highly recommend that you give them a try and see how they work for your body.